David Cronenberg exposes a hit piece. Gwyneth Paltrow wants to bang in peace. And Neill Blomkamp returns to the world of sci-fi.
Oh, it's time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call! Bueller?
I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller?
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
Late for shows.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kimblett to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Hello, classmates. Welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class. I'm your host for today, Pete.
And I'm Tyler.
And I'm Joseph.
What?
Are you expecting? We're expecting a rootin' tootin' Tyler.
Yeah, no, just like, and I'm Tyler, as if like you're the only two.
And I'm Tyler.
What? I just said my name. I don't
It was the cadence in which like I'm Pete and I'm Tyler, as if like that's the end of the introductions.
Oh, like I was punctuating it with a period.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put an emphasis.
And I'm here too, I guess.
Joseph's here, technically.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, thank you for joining us on YouTube Live and otherwise, and of course, all the OG classmates listening in audio-only podcast land.
Bing, bing.
Yeah, you should come over to the YouTube. It's a lot of fun. We're here now. Welcome back.
Yeah. Thank you. It's great to be
Joseph, you too. Welcome back. I was here the whole time.
Yeah.
In the vicinity.
In this,
Yeah.
my
immediate
house.
vicinity.
Yeah. In my house.
What do they call it? It's Steady Eddie. Or no, Steady Pete.
That's right. Steady Petey.
Yeah. Steady Petey.
Steady Petey.
Yeah. Steady Petey.
And, but yeah, last week we weren't streaming because why, Tyler?
Well, my sister, she got hitched.
Yeah.
And I have a new brother in the family. Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It was a gay old time, and I couldn't have been more happier for her.
You didn't look happy in the pictures.
It's like you were guarding the wedding.
You look like you had disdain. You're like love.
Yeah,
Fuck love.
It's the aviators.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, if anyone who follows me on social media or any of my family members, I don't know why you would, but yeah, there's pictures of me looking like a Secret Service agent.
You're ready to take a bullet for your sister.
Exactly.
That's
yeah.
right.
See, that was my role. That was my position. Like,
Well,
You gave it yourself.
I'm the bigger. I'm the big brother.
It was. It looked beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Mary was in. It was,
Congratulations, MacKenzie.
yeah. Congratulations, Kenzie, who's a class clown. She's a Patreon member.
Yeah, and she will very much appreciate us talking about her nuptials.
Yes, it was great. It looked great. I'm not gonna say I was upset I wasn't invited because we don't have that relationship.
Well,
That's the difference when if my sister got married, Tyler would say, "Where's my invite?"
you know what? That isn't your sister already married? I thought.
No, she's divorced.
Oh.
I mean, technically, yes, she has been married.
Oh, where's my invite?
There you go, on brand. Also, breaking news. Brianna made me these Valentine's Day decals. They're a little small,
Yeah,
but they're for the show.
They're like a
can't-
holographic.
you can't see it, but it says middle class
Pokemon
film class
cards.
on it.
Yeah, it says middle class film class. You can't even see the damn things.
No, you can't. But
So
You
if
don't
you
focus that close.
yeah, no, if you want to cop, it's like hologram little VHS tapes, and it says middle class film class, and very
I already put one on my phone.
yeah, very tiny yellow font. If you want one and you're listening, just send us a message or send us an email at mcfcpodcast@gmail.com and give me your address, and I'll just put it in an envelope, mail it out to you.
Yeah.
We got some other the old ones too. I'll throw some in there too.
Yeah.
If you're on the stream, you're listening, send them out.
If you want one, type "I'm horny" in the chat.
Yeah.
Right on.
If you want one, say
Yeah.
I'm a dirty little mud grub. You dirty little mud grub. Thank you. And then also big news before we get into the movie news.
Oh my God, you're pregnant.
No, we're not. I'm not pregnant, but we are monetized. So when you hit the live stream, this time to watch us, you probably notice that there's an ad at the beginning of this.
And you're like, God, I don't want to watch
You're
this.
like, fuck this. Sellouts. And then the YouTube videos that we released 2 weeks ago, I watched it and popped it up, and it was like you had a pre-roll ad.
Yeah.
I had a mid-roll ad. I'm like, holy shit, look at that. So you may be asking, what kind of scratch are we returning here? So there's no secrets here at Middle Class Film Class.
Very transparent.
Yeah, Tyler is recently diagnosed with scabies.
Wait, really?
And
And scurvy.
and yeah,
Wait, so what?
and Legionnaire's disease.
Oh wow.
Yeah, chiggers.
I'm very infirmed right now.
Also trenchfoot.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, transfer. I know, am I stinky feet?
But we also are very open about the loads of money that are going to be coming in now. So, Joseph, can you want to switch over to the monetization page?
Take a look.
We did it.
We're rolling in it.
What does that say?
92 cents.
Oh my God.
$0.92, fellas. We have arrived.
Oh, finally.
What do you think? What do you think about the fact that we've ascended now?
Well, I mean, it's great. I mean, it's funny because I'm such a narcissistic person. Like, I go
get
back.
that off the screen. I don't want to look at it. I'm depressed.
I'm such a narcissistic person that I'll go back to previous episodes and like watch us, like, you know, like gab and chatter and all of that
Okay.
stuff. And the first time that I did it, which was I believe it was last week, I clicked on the video and an ad popped up and I was like, and I giggled to myself. I was like, oh my God, like there's an ad.
We're cogs in the machine.
It's like, there's an ad right here. No, the machine. No, we needed to be a cog in the machine. It was well deserved that we finally crossed over to that threshold.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So a lot of fun.
We did it.
We'll see if there's some changes to the channel now. But this
did it.
This is going to be the last week of our original format, or this iteration of our format. So we'll talk about that.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
At the end of the stream, and we'll talk about that.
It's almost like a season finale.
Kind of, yeah.
End of an era.
Yes. So
Cha-ching.
we're going to change the name of the show too.
Yeah.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Tyler and Company.
Yes. All right. I can.
Oh yeah, it's going to be the CCP podcast. Glorious leader, shine upon us.
Yes.
Give us your I don't know, whatever he's going to give us.
I don't know.
All right. Enough gab and pre-gab. Time for proper news. Gab and chatter.
Find some charity, you lad. Now's the time for gab and chatter.
Gab and chatter, our movie news of the week. Tyler, what do you got for us?
All right. This comes from Variety.com. A much beloved director, creator, David Cronenberg, says the Brutalist AI controversy was a Harvey Weinstein kind of campaign spurred by other Oscar nominees. And then he goes on to saying, we mess with actors' voices all the time. And so the article, I mean, I'm going to read it verbatim. I know you guys don't like that, but I'm just going to do it. So legendary horror director David Cronenberg has his own thoughts as to why the backlash against the use of AI in The Brutalist was so strong. Back in January, The Brutalist editor,
David?
Well, it says David, I think, but it has like a little like asterisk or
tilde on it.
Divide. Yeah, it has divide.
Just say, I think it's just David.
Okay, okay, I'm gonna say it American way. David Jansko said AI tools were used to improve the Hungarian dialogue of stars Adrian Brody and Felicity Jones. The use of the controversial tech soon caused an online outcry against the Oscar front-runner, but Cronenberg believes backlash was more than just a social media spat. I don't know where Harvey Weinstein comes into place,
so Harvey Weinstein was famous for basically like doing this sort of shit. He would stand up in the middle of a screening and basically say, "This movie's bullshit. I'm not funding it. Fuck this movie," and walk out. And then other people would be afraid to take action because he was a vindictive cunt.
And a rapist.
Yeah, that too. Confirmed.
And his dick is rotting off.
Yeah, so he basically had these like sort of dirty backdoor, not even backdoor, but like dirty out in public tactics to fuck with movies that were his competition.
I see. Okay. So
what do you think about that, Tyler? You think that the AI use in the voice is warranted or what?
Well, Cronenberg, he said that I must confess there was a scandal with The Brutalist via the London's Royal Festival Hall, which he attended. There was a discussion about Adrian Brody, but apparently they used artificial intelligence to improve his accent. I think it was a campaign against The Brutalist by some other Oscar nominees, which he doesn't say whom. It's very much a Harvey Weinstein kind of thing, though he wasn't around. So with your point being that he would do that sort of thing, like that makes sense now. I had no idea. He continued, We mess with actors' voices all the time. In the case of John Lone in M. Butterfly, when he was being this character, this singer, I raised the pitch of his voice, and when he's revealed as a man, I lowered to his natural voice. This is just part of movie making. So now I get Cronenberg's like argument where that AI was used. I mean, like, it kind of gets me wondering. It's like, well, okay, what is AI? Like in this sort of context.
We have
like,
time for this in this segment.
Well, no, because I'm going to be really quick about it.
Okay.
Like, but in this context, it's like, okay, so if they're just pitching his voice into more of a Hungarian dialect, or not dialect, accent, then I feel that it's not sort of out of the realm of reality based on what Cronenberg was saying. I think what the problem lies in with AI is replacing like writers and animators and that sort of positions in the film industry. But in this context, I feel that it's justified in a way. And I think that's what David Cronenberg is saying, like, well, it's
like
not
it's not that far off from shit we already do, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that he was like trying to like temper people down and say like, look, like, you know, we mess around with people's voices and stuff all the time. It's not that far off, and like because the technology is there, we're going to utilize it. However, it doesn't justify anything of using AI as like, you know, creating scripts or like doing the animation work and stuff like that. Like if they're only using it in a way where like it
still polishes the work that's already there.
Exactly. So I think
Joseph, what do you think about that?
In the specific case of the Brutalist,
yeah, sure.
And knowing after all the like the information has come out by now, because when it was first released, it was like, oh god, his entire performance, his entire speaking lines was done by a robot.
He stayed home actually. He was leaving on set.
Yeah. But after like what they did with it, and it wasn't the same as like generative AI, which is really the big controversy.
I agree with that.
AI controversy is filmmakers and artists and any other outlet using generative AI. That's the big problem. In this case, they used a specific company called Respeecher, which didn't replace anybody's job. It actually added more jobs to this specific job, specific movie, and it wasn't like it wasn't a generative AI type of program,
right?
And the intention also behind the choice to do that was because the editor is also Hungarian, and him and Brady Corbet, they did it with the intention of just like, we wanted to make sure that a Hungarian person watching this movie wouldn't be able to tell that it's like
not Hungarian.
It's not a true Hungarian accent. I think the backlash was mainly just people thought that Adrian Brody, his performance was altered in a way to make it better than it was.
I'm on board with pretty much all that. I think that for me the biggest thing that makes it like not a huge deal in this is because number one, it is not generative. You're not taking someone else's work and then remixing it with a fucking computer and spitting out a piece of art and just putting it on screen. But also, that's how different is that than ADR? You take a bad line, you do ADR, you make the scene better. Boom, done.
I mean, I think that's what Cronenberg was trying to get at, because like I remember like when that whole controversy came out, was like, oh, there were like in a previous episode that we did, like you guys were like, oh, there's AI using the Brutalist. Ah, god damn it.
I have a little bit of a bit to contribute to this. So Respeecher, the program and or the company has been used in Better Man, the Robbie Williams movie, The Brutalist, here, the Robert Zemeckis one with Tom Hanks, where it's just one location. Yeah. It's like lockdown shot of a living room or whatever. Alien Romulus, Amelia Perez, Niad, Dangerous Waters, and The Exorcist Believer. And also in video games like Cyberpunk 2077 and God of War Ragnarok.
Really?
Yes. So, and on top of that, Reese Beecher has also co-opted a bill called the No Fakes Act to protect individual voices and likenesses from unauthorized recreations like deepfake. They're very staunch that they're saying, if you're using this, we're using your actual voice for this project. We're not aggregating it into a database so you can just recreate you whenever we want for voice. It's like, so it seems like it's an ethical use of advanced technology, not what most people consider AI.
Not just like type in a prompt and say, make this sound Hungarian.
Yeah. Make the guy from The Pianist sound like a Jew.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Enter,
Scarlett
go.
Jo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's in such a small percentage of his performance. It's only when he is actually speaking Hungarian, and also Felicity Jones is speaking Hungarian, which is not a lot of the movie.
Yeah.
There is another aspect of the movie that is allegedly used generative AI and is a sort of like the building as like a middleman type of role, to the extent of which I don't know.
We don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Anything else, Tyler, before we move on?
Nope, that is it. Thank you, David Cronenberg, for tempering the
witch hunt.
It's weird of the brutalist.
Yeah.
I heard it's really great.
Before
I won't watch it.
I got my 4Ks in the mail on my way to me right now.
Oh, is that right?
Mine is too.
I can't wait to rewatch it. So before we move on, Angry Otter in the chat dropped us a $5 donation.
Aww.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Is his name really Angry Otter? Is that on his driver's license?
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow.
His last name is Reacts, actually.
Yeah, Angry Otter, middle name Otter, last name Reacts.
Yeah. The second.
And then he's got a great point. He says, sorry, but if musicians can release albums of completely auto-tuned songs, there's no scandal in enhancing an actor's speech. 100%.
Yeah.
But we are also allowed to compare somebody like Kesha to Celine Dion. Celine Dion doesn't use auto-tune. Kesha is a human auto-tune. So, anyways.
Auto-tune was a person.
That's my girlfriend you're talking about.
Oh,
right?
okay. Yeah, you and Jerry Seinfeld both.
Yeah, Keisha.
$, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joseph, what do you got?
Okay. I have a story about the sort of Marty Supreme is a movie by Josh Safdie, one half of the Safdie Bros, the other half being Benny Safdie, who's making his own movie as well with The Rock, about a wrestler or a boxer, I believe.
Human pain machine or something like that.
Yeah. Josh Safdie is making a movie about a biopic about a ping pong player. So they're both making sports biopics in a way.
Cool. Okay. Ping pong's a sport.
And title is
that's right.
Marty Supreme, starring one Timothée Chalamet, and apparently Gwyneth Paltrow was in it as well.
Wow, she's still getting work. Nice.
Yeah.
Good for her.
She's hasn't been in a movie recently. I think Marvel was one of the last roles that she took.
Pepper Potts.
As Pepper.
Yeah, Pepper Potts.
Pepper Potts. And she's calling this, although she was in a TV show called the Politician or something.
That's Ellen Pompeo you're thinking of.
This is her return to acting, apparently. Return to movie acting.
The goop money dried up.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's no longer goopy
it's dusty
anymore.
old goop now.
And so she
it's just crusty.
So she did an interview with Vanity Fair as a part of a cover story for this return to acting in Marty Supreme. And Paltrow revealed for the first time that she is starring as the wife of a rival professional who falls into bed with Chalamet's star.
So this is basically just The Prestige.
Yeah.
Okay.
But with ping pong.
Got it.
She says this woman who is married to someone who is in the ping pong mafia, as a word. They meet and she's had a pretty tough life, and I think he breathes life back into her. But it's kind of transactional for them both. And apparently there's some BTS like paparazzi type photos of Chalamet and Paltrow making out while filming a scene. They were just making out and the camera was just rolling.
There.
Nice.
They got that on camera.
I mean, who wouldn't?
Nice.
According to Paltrow, the two co-stars will be getting even more hot and heavy in the movie.
Full penetration?
She says, I mean, we have a lot of sex in this movie. There's a lot. A lot, she emphasizes. Filming sex scenes with Chalamet introduced Paltrow to an intimacy coordinator. Have you guys heard of the position of intimacy coordinator before last year?
Yes, before last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you hear about it?
Few years, I don't know. I mean, because we read news stories for the show a lot, so sometime in the run of our podcast,
it's I feel like that job has come a lot more to light in the recent years.
Yes, it has.
Because before last year, I never heard of it.
really.
No.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Joseph. I haven't heard of it since last year.
I just thought it was something that was kind of standard on set. Like you have a weaponsmith, you got a master armor, and you got a cocksmith. Yeah.
I mean, like I just thought that the director was like, okay, go at it.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought
probably up to a certain point in movie history, that's probably how it was.
But I mean, I'm ignorant.
Right,
I'm ignorant to
fuck now.
Yeah. Fuck now.
Now it's time for the fucking.
Yeah.
Time for a fucking.
Great stuff.
So Gwyneth Paltrow says apparently she had never heard of something intimacy coordinator before either.
No,
but she says
she has been in sex scenes.
There's now something called an intimacy coordinator, which I did not know existed. So she's also new to this. So there was no intimacy coordinator on Shallow Hal, I guess. With
I was gonna say, I was like, wait a minute.
When he holds the giant panties in front of him. Noting that when Marty Supreme's intimacy coordinator asked her if she'd be comfortable with a particular move during the filming of an intimate scene, I was like, girl, I'm from the era, and back in my day, is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Back in my day, I'm from the era where you get naked, you get in bed, the camera's on.
That's exactly
whether you're on the film set or not.
Yeah. We said, I think we're good. You can step a little bit back. Like, whoa here. Paltrow added of not relying on an intimacy coordinator with Chalamet. I don't know how it is for kids who are starting out, but if someone is like, okay,
kids,
and then he's going to put his hand here, I would feel as an artist very stifled by that. And then she went and said, I was like, okay, great. I'm 109 years old. You're 14.
Okay, that's a weird thing to say.
I know. She was on set, saw Chalamet, and she was like,
I don't know, man, that 15-year-old's pretty hot. Oops.
You're overshadowing my joke.
I stepped on it. I don't know, man, that 15-year-old's pretty hot. That's a red flag.
Yeah. She said, he's just a very polite, properly raised, I was going to say kid.
He's 29 years old.
He's a man who takes his work really seriously and is a fun partner, if you know what I mean.
That's what she said, if you know what I mean?
No. I added that. But yeah, while Paltrow has played Pepper Potts in several Marvel movies and had a supporting role in the Netflix series The Politician, she's viewing Marty Supreme as her first serious acting role since 2010's Country Strong. So the Pepper Potts was not a serious acting role.
Yeah, I was going to say that. All right. Well, I mean, good for Tim.
Whether or not Paltrow could still pull off a vulnerable role fueled her self-doubt, but she luckily had a famous friend who was also stepping back in front of the camera after more than a decade, who was Cameron Diaz, who ended an 11-year acting hiatus by starring in the Netflix movie Back in Action. What a movie to come back to.
Yeah, really. We got to come back.
I'm not surprised that they're best friends, Cameron Diaz and Gwyneth Paltrow.
They look the same.
They look like they would be best friends.
They look the same.
They look like they were either currently are or former Mormons.
You know what? I've been described that way before, and I take offense to that. You either are or used to be a Mormon.
But yeah, so she's filming sex scenes with Timothée Chalamet and telling intimacy coordinators to not do their job.
Yeah, I wonder how Tim feels.
Step back. I want him in me.
I wonder how Tim feels about it. You know, like
I'm sure he's happy.
I'm sure he is too. I mean, I like. Well, I mean, he's my mortal enemy, so like, I'd like to get in his head.
I thought that was the Penguin.
No,
the Penguin.
Yeah.
No, not the Penguin.
Oh, because he's Batman.
Because he's the Sacramento Batman.
Oh,
yeah.
He's more like the Scat Man.
Anything else, Joseph?
No, but I feel like intimacy coordinators aren't just for like the actors themselves. It's like for everybody else on set.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's good. I mean, if it depends, it's just like if you got a script supervisor who's like, hey, you said that one inflection slightly wrong. There's a comma there instead of a exclamation point or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, how hands-on do you want to be correcting the script? Some directors are like, fucking just do whatever you want as long as the message gets across. Some directors, like probably Fincher, is probably like, this script is exactly, move the flower pot in the back here. We're going to set this up.
Do it as it is written.
Correct. So intimacy coordinators, I'm sure that's a scale, either, okay, before you touch this person's hip, are you okay with that? It's like, if I go walk over and touch Joseph on the shoulder, you can...
Okay, we
then it's like, that's not a...
Cut the stream.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. If I could touch you, in a different capacity.
Yeah.
But maybe some people are a little more sensitive to that. So whoever the people are on set, whoever the people who are in the scene, that's who matters,
I mean, it just makes logical sense though, because like, of course, like there's going to be a director which it's out of their scope of dealing with human intimacy. Like they can write it on the script and like, they can say like, oh, I want you to do this, that, and the other, and then the actor's like, I don't know if I want to do that. And so then you have the like liaison of someone.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, well,
they speak the language, they understand people's sensibilities or whatever.
David Lynch, I know you're dead, but this is how we need to do this.
I've directed
that was the worst thing you've ever said.
I've directed a sort of sex scene.
You did?
It's more of like, I mean, I guess they have sex, but it's more like they're just making love.
All right.
And like early,
there's a difference
in like 2012, like one of my second short film, and it was weird for sure. Like I like everybody who doesn't need to be here, get out of the room. I just need the camera and audio.
Angry Otter wants to know how hands-on the intimacy coordinator was during the peach scene for Call Me By Your Name.
Oh, for Luca?
Yeah.
That I would love to know.
I want to know the intimacy coordinator for Antichrist when Willem Dafoe's Wang was out and everyone was uncomfortable.
I would be surprised if there even was one on that.
No, Lars von Trier was like, no, we don't need that. Or safety coordinator.
Yeah, or safety.
Anything, really.
Safety coordinator.
They modeled his dick and they had to actually size it down.
Yeah. Well, they didn't want to change the lens out for the wide angle.
There's a lot of penises for that audition.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
But yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. So for my news story, a couple things. Number one, not a huge thing, but Conan's coming back to the Oscars. He's going to be
he's hosting again.
Conan's hosting for 2026.
God. Oh, thank God.
Who's a fantastic host, in my opinion. I think he did great. And he had
one of the best hosts that I've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly. Taking the piss out of celebrities one by one.
Timothée Chalamet is up for Best Actor tonight. You're amazing. And you look amazing.
On the Timothée Chalamet topic.
I bow to you. Love that suit. You will not get hit on your bike tonight.
And by the way, his suit was garbage, but
no, it's great.
It's great. It looked like Curious George's dad.
Yeah, Curious George's handler.
Looked lame.
The man with the yellow hat. But yeah, so Conan's
you
coming
just
back.
Wish you had that suit.
Thought it was cool.
What?
You wish you had that suit.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Love him. I've always been a huge Conan fan. But then more specifically, something that I think is going to divide fans of the original movie. Neill Blomkamp's coming to make a remake of Starship Troopers.
I thought that was a joke.
No,
like
that's real.
Like an AI generated thing.
It's happening. Sony is behind the new adaptation, but it's not a remake of the '97 film.
Just a new adaptation.
Instead, it's a different adaptation of the original text. So the original novel was written in 1959, which is kind of interesting to think about. But
wonder what route he'll take with it. Because Verhoeven took the route that people didn't like.
Yeah, I like it. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
No, it's great, but he really made it satirical.
Yeah. It's almost like satire that no one took as a satire at the time.
Yeah,
I mean, like Neill Blomkamp is kind of like Shane Carruth, like of the film industry. Like no one wants to work. I'm surprised that they even gave him this IP.
Well, he just did Gran Turismo and made a shit ton of money for them.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I forgot.
It was good.
I forgot about Gran Turismo.
The last director I would have thought to make a movie like that, and I liked it.
Yeah,
I mean, I like Blomkamp. He's great. Chappie's fantastic. District 9's fantastic. Demonic was disappointing.
I always get him confused with Gareth Edwards.
Oh, interesting.
Because they have similar.
They
styles.
Yeah,
interesting.
You could say that Gareth Edwards could have directed District 9.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see
Yeah,
it.
I could see it.
I could see it.
Yeah.
I think it would be a different take, but originally the 1959 novel was basically told of an interstellar war between Earth and a host of bug-like aliens that focused on the rise of the military serviceman named Johnny Rico. Bugs. But the story had other things on its mind, like exploring the strengths of life in a military society and such ideas as having to perform service in order to have voting rights. So
And become a citizen.
That's the part of it that I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
And I read, a lot of comments about this because I saw the
That's
story.
where we're
pop
heading
up.
in our current,
Sure,
country.
sure. But I mean, like in the movie, remember they had when he's signing up for service, they have the guy that's signing him up has no legs and one fake arm, like one mechanical arm.
Right.
And you're like, it's kind of played almost like a joke, but almost like a be warned sort of a thing,
Right. Yeah. That's kind of how I thought it was, like a kind of like a premonition.
Like like this is no joke. They're gonna get fucked up in this, which is true. But apparently in the book they do that. They specifically mention they do that on purpose. They have former servicemen with missing limbs doing the promotion so that it warns the people coming to saying this is real. We're not going to try to bamboozle you.
Yeah.
We're not going to do like the NFL and sign up like 12 18-year-olds for service on the fucking right before the kickoff, in the middle of the stadium, make it seem like this whole big thing.
If only they did that with our current military.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is like the current military, they post up outside of unemployment offices and high schools and stuff, and they're like, oh, it's going to be great. And
you can get a Dodge Charger.
Yeah, they don't talk about the bad stuff. They just say you're going to do
free LASIK surgery.
Yeah, and it's like, and I got mad respect for people who serve. A lot of my family members have served.
Yeah, of course.
But it's like being honest and earnest about what the side benefits and the negatives and all that kind of stuff. And in Starship Troopers, they specifically say you don't have to be an able-bodied, buff guy to go serve. You can be like one of his teachers is blind in the movie.
Yeah,
that's straight from the book. You can serve in other ways.
Did you read the book?
No, I did not. I've just read text from other people. So I just think it's interesting. And as much as I love Starship Troopers, Paul Verhoeven's version. I'm open to the idea of Blomkamp, and I'm really happy to see him coming back to the world of like aliens and sci-fi.
I am as well. I mean, because he has a very great eye for aliens, like especially in District 9, like those aliens are very creative. It's something that you would see, like it's something that you would imagine like what an alien would look like, like in a movie. I mean, you think about like those like old 50s like campy horror movies, like the original Thing and stuff like that, or like Plan Space from Outer Nine.
Oh yeah, that jam.
Plan Space from Outer Nine,
or Plan 9 from Outer Space. I don't know what the fuck it is.
The hard thing is going to be beating the design of the bugs from Paul Verhoeven's version because they're fantastic.
Well, I mean, the original Starship Troopers is just it's
so good.
It's iconic.
I know, it really is.
So it'd be weird to
it's a big ask.
Make a remake of a movie that was adapted from a book. I know he's not doing that, but like, can you imagine? I'm remaking Paul Verhoeven's Starship Troopers.
Yeah,
which is already a story.
Someone asked him on the press tour, how faithful is it to the book? And he goes, book? What?
What do you mean a book?
Yeah. What's that? So anyways, that's kind of exciting for me. I mean, I'll watch it. I'm going to go in with low expectations and hopefully I'm blown away by it. But you never know. We'll see.
Yeah, it could be cool.
So without further ado, let's get in some streaming picks.
Movies.
Want to watch a movie?
Yes, I do.
Disney Plus, HBO Max.
If I don't get the pick, show's over.
I have grown accustomed to Hulu Plus.
Amazon Prime.
I like Netflix.
You found the pick.
Streaming picks. Movies that we watched on our streaming services this week that you can watch on yours too. Tyler, lead us off.
All right. I have several of them. So I'm going to just
keep it brief. Remember, we got a time limit on this episode.
I know. We're tight on time.
And you got two more hosts that need to do their stream picks.
All right. So I'm just going to go off with The French Connection and French Connection 2.
Wow.
Starring Gene Hackman. I'm going to say this. The French Connection one was... oh my God, it was so amazing. It was so amazing. And the reason why I like it is because of the futility of it all. It starts off with Gene Hackman and his partner trying to bust, they're like kind of has been like detectives, like they're kind of like on the brink of like losing their jobs essentially.
Okay.
And then Gene Hackman is like, oh wait, I have this lead on a heroin bust. And so he goes and he like follows this lead, like he's like basically manic about it. And it's not even that big of a case, but I remember the sergeant, it's either the sergeant or the lieutenant or whatever, I don't know how the rankings work, but he was saying to Gene Hackman's character, like, this better not be a nickel and dime bag bust. And he's like, no, it's gonna be big, and he does catch on to it, but ultimately they never bust the big bad. And so at the end of the movie, they leave it a little bit ambiguous because there's like the shootout with like the police and everything, because they eventually find like the French Connection, and it's never solved. And then the epilogue, where like it shows like the credits at the end of the scene, they get demoted. Like they failed at their job. And I love when like media does that, where like they like kind of crescendo up to like this sort of like big.
Are you telling me the spoiler for the end of this movie?
Have you seen it before?
No, I've not.
Oh, well, sorry.
It's kind of my fault. The movie's like 50 years old.
It's from 1971. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And then we move on to the sequel, which is, it's a good movie, but it's not as great as the first one. And then, well, I won't spoil the second one.
Please
but
don't.
But the ending of the second one, like, I groaned inside and I was like, really? That was it. But the consistent acting chops of Gene Hackman was incredible. It was incredible.
He's
like
the best.
He's
the best.
He's so good. He's so good in like everything he does, which segues off to my next streaming pick. Oh, I'm sorry. These are all streaming on Amazon Prime.
Cool,
I should have prefaced that. My third streaming pick, The Royal Tenenbaums. Never seen that movie before, but like I know a lot of people in high school, they were talking about it. I never cared to watch for it, and so I just kind of like put it aside. Like I didn't even have a blip of a thought of this movie. And then I because I was on like this Gene Hackman like ride, I was like, well, let's check out Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah.
Also streaming on Amazon Prime. And that movie was surprisingly really good. I think they call it the weaker of Wes Anderson movies.
That depends on who you ask. I know a lot of people that's their number one.
And
I love it.
Disagree with that.
I don't think it's
disagree with being in the weaker one.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I don't think it's weak at all. I think what the fuck is it called?
Darjeeling Limited.
Yeah, that one I would say was probably the weaker one. Royal Tenenbaums had me laughing so much because of Gene Hackman's like just assholeness of being this patriarch of a person, and like he's living in this hotel and then eventually gets kicked out of the hotel, and like it almost, the movie almost runs like a sitcom. And then eventually it takes a dark turn, and Luke Wilson and Owen Wilson were incredible in that movie. I think, and then also Gwyneth Paltrow is in that movie as well. And she plays a significant pain in the ass. And just like an overall crappy person. And mostly all of the people in that movie are crappy people. And then we have like, Morticia in there as well, who is just a stone cold fox.
I gave her some respect. Angelica Houston.
Well, I didn't know her name. So.
Okay.
And so I watched the Royal Tenenbaums. That is just a 10 out of 10 movie. I really enjoyed myself.
You liked it.
But I thought it's such what took me out of the movie a little bit was the indie music that they peppered in like throughout the movie. I thought that was a little bit jarring, but it made me nostalgic because it came out like in 2000. Yeah, it came out in 2001. And so that it was a little nostalgic because it had like all that indie music, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember those times. But I really, really enjoyed the Royal Tenenbaums. So the next movie that I watched was Moonstruck.
Oh, hell yeah. Now we're talking.
I watched this last night actually, and it made me love again.
There you go.
Yeah. That
was the corniest thing I've heard you say.
Really?
And the realist.
Well, I mean, I don't know what sue me then.
I lost my hand. I lost my bride. He didn't lose his hand. He didn't lose his bride.
Cher just is angelic as ever.
She's great.
And she's just so gorgeous. And
hell yeah.
This movie really so this was a movie that I've seen to give context for listeners and for you guys. I always saw the cover of Moonstruck when I would go to Blockbuster Video or Hollywood Video, and it has a really great VHS cover, and it always stuck out to me, and it stuck with me throughout my whole lucid adult life. But I just never checked it out for whatever reason. I would just always remember the cover looking good, kind of like the Scrooge VHS cover.
Oh, Scrooged,
yeah, Scrooged. It just it always stuck out to me. And then last night, after I got off of work, well, I mean, there's kind of a funny story leading up to me watching Moonstruck, but I won't get into that because we're on time.
Thank you.
But so I put it on. It's on Amazon Prime, and holy crap! Nicolas, I think this is one of Nicolas Cage's best performances.
I could agree with that.
I mean,
it's really good.
I think I can appreciate the over dramatic acting of it all. It's because at first I feel people could be turned off by it because it is really over. It's rarely over dramatic. But at the same time, once you get into the movie, it's only an hour and 48 minutes, I believe, and it does not feel that way at all. I was an hour in, I was it's already almost done.
I can imagine that Ronnie Camerari is your new adopted personality, sweating it out in the basement of a bakery with one wooden hand and a wife beater on.
Yeah, that's how I felt too.
I'm sure it did. I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad you watched some good movies. Those are good movies.
Yeah. Well, and then I have an anti-streaming pick.
Okay.
Okay.
Damn, 5 movies.
Yeah, I have an anti-streaming pick.
I mean, I'm not complaining. We're just on the one day we got to get out of here on time.
Okay. Well, this one is streaming on Netflix. This is Midnight in the Switchgrass, starring Bruce Willis and Megan Fox.
Oh boy.
And Machine Gun Kelly.
Okay. Oh boy. All right.
So this new.
Yeah, that movie. I just felt sad because this was one of Bruce Willis's last movie, and he was barely in the movie because of his unfortunate condition that he's currently going through right now. So the movie starts out strong.
What's it about? The name means nothing to me.
Okay, so
Midnight in the Switchgrass?
Yeah.
Yeah, Midnight in the Switchgrass. So
Neil Hirsch is in this.
Yes, I forgot Neil Hirsch was in that too. He wasn't that great in it either. So it starts out with it kind of starts out like True Detective. That's what really
because a cultist murder.
No, it's not. It's not cultist, but a prostitute gets murdered, and then Emil Hirsch, who plays a state PD, he goes on to the scene of the crime, and he recognizes a pattern of previous murders, and then it kind of cascades into sort of an investigation of a serial killer. And so it starts out strong. I was like, okay, I love Emil Hirsch. I love Bruce Willis. Megan Fox is a fox. Machine Gun Kelly, he needs to go to more acting classes. So it's basically about finding this serial killer who's killing prostitutes in bumfuck nowhere, South America, not South America, but southern continental United States. And this isn't. It starts off strong, and then I feel like they ran out of money in the end because it sort of just ends. Mm-hmm. It doesn't there's no big peak sort of
finale climax.
It kind of just pitters out, and I was like, that's it. There's no Yellow King. There's no Rust.
This has 8% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Damn.
Yeah. It's,
Wait.
8%.
8% what? Critic or audience? Overall?
That's just the
No, just
that's the
just-
critics.
Just 8%.
That's that's critics. Let me tell you what the
Yeah.
People love it.
I mean, it's a short watch, but it's there's a lot to be desired, and I think the idea that they had was really great. And the cinematography is pretty good as well. It's just I don't think they had the money, and
audience score 20%.
Oh, okay.
it's okay. Like I mean, it's
Top
it's not-
review on Letterboxd, more like Midnight in the Shitgrass. 1.5 stars by Paulington.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to be disappointed on a Netflix movie, check that out, I guess. But
Okay. Cool.
yeah, that's all I got.
All right, Joseph, how about you? What do you got?
Okay. I'm just gonna go with. I had a couple of rewatches, but I'll just skip those.
Yeah.
I'll go worst to first, starting with Fall.
Oh yeah,
Remember that movie Fall?
it's funny. I almost brought that up because Brianna watched that. I was in and out of the room, so I'm
Yeah.
not going to count it. But
So this came out in 2022, and it kind of had this whole like rating adjust because they replaced the dialogue and with the
Yeah,
they
like
replaced the curse words
with PG-13 words.
non-curse words.
that was one of the first movies we actually reported on this show that used AI technology
Yeah.
in the movie.
I can tell.
Yeah.
that they did it.
I could tell.
No, I said I couldn't tell.
Oh,
I couldn't tell that they did that. But it's not a very good movie. It's basically, if you've seen 47 Meters Down, it's pretty much the exact same premise of that movie.
It's 47 meters up.
Just
Yeah.
above the water, above sea level. These two girls, they climb those extremely tall towers
oh, that one. Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere, 2,000 feet up.
Mm-hmm.
In honor of a friend who died rock climbing, or like her fiance or something. And then it's a rusty tower, and the ladder breaks, and they get stuck up there. And the acting's not great, writing's not great. The
twist isn't great either.
I mean, it's the same exact twist of 47 Meters Down.
I watched like the last 40 minutes of it, and then while I was working on something else, and I'm like, it's literally the same twist.
The same
everything.
like
Rug pull.
You thought,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like when the truck hits the drone,
Oh yeah,
and you're like,
yeah,
of course
that would happen.
of course it does.
And like, no drone charges that fast.
There's so many dumb things about it.
But yeah, so it's not great.
I bet if you watch it in IMAX though, and you have fear of heights, you'd shit your pants though.
There's a couple moments where I was like, okay, that looks pretty believable. But there are,
yeah, okay.
but a lot of it, it's like, it doesn't look like they're actually up there. Next one, new movie came out last year, streaming on where's it streaming? It's streaming on Prime, Amazon Prime. This is Mild Ass.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And this is a very charming kind of comedy coming of age movie. Starring Aubrey Plaza is in it, but she's not really in it that much.
No, not really.
Maisie Stella is the main actress playing Elliot, and Aubrey Plaza plays older Elliot. And this is a very unique kind of story because it reminded me of Stranger Than Fiction,
Yeah.
a little bit, because it's like they're in the same reality, and like the choices affect. It's like the parallel universes collided,
Yeah.
and like her older self is living in the same world that she's living in.
Yeah, and she's talking to her younger self about something that's going to happen.
But they can only get to each other by doing lots of hallucinogenic drugs.
Yeah.
By like either doing shrooms or smoking a shit ton of weed,
Yeah.
which I don't think is hallucinogenic. But
It is.
You hallucinate yourself as a successful person.
Wow. Shot in the heart.
but yeah, it was a very kind of sweet and charming movie with kind of a simple story aside from that part of it, because it's just like her older self kind of giving her younger self advice. It's not like the younger self is trying to exploit the system. Like, tell me who to invest in. What team should I bet on? It's like the Back to the Future Part 2.
It's more like emotional investment that she's trying to.
Emotional turmoil.
And then it's like a learning lesson for both her younger self and her older self. Whereas like she tries to tell her to stay away from this one thing, this one person.
Yeah.
And it's like, because it's just going to lead to this thing. But then it's like, well, no, you kind of have to go through that,
There's some good lessons there.
Yeah. And it ends like and it was over just like kind of like very abruptly.
Yeah.
And
that's what I thought too.
I like that part of it because I don't really need to see where it goes from there because you see the result of the choice that she made. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Good. Where's that streaming again? Prime?
That was on Prime.
Yeah, on
Bruce
Prime.
loves this movie.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Bruce is a huge fan. I liked it well enough.
Yeah, it was good. It was like in the realm of like slightly above mid enjoyable movies.
Yeah, I think that it's also worth watching because
it was
upper middle mid. It's a good movie to take it a risk watching because it's not really a big risk, but you could if you're in the right demographic or in the right state of mind, you could get a lot from this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Next streaming pick, also streaming on Hulu. This is A Real Pain.
I saw that you watched that.
Starring Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin, the Academy Award winner for this movie, supporting actor. And I like this movie quite a bit, actually.
Was it deserved? The nom?
The win.
The win?
I think it was right that he was nominated, and I'm not upset after now watching it that he won. But I feel like Guy Pearce was the better choice.
I agree
of the categories of the nominations. But yeah, it's I like this movie, and he is the quote unquote real pain in this movie. Because he has the personality of someone you would not want to be. I personally would not want to be friends with because he's very abrasive and
no filter.
Has
to be the star of the show,
and has like a lot of narcissistic tendencies.
Wow.
And he's related to him too, so it's not like you're just a buddy.
And they're cousins, and they're like the cousins where it's like you grew up with your
it's like a brother.
Your cousin
May as well be a brother.
They might as well be siblings. And their grandma dies, who is from Poland, and the whole movie is them going to Poland on this tour of like a Holocaust type tour where they go to like a concentration camp and they want to go see their grandma's where she lived when she was there. And he is just like they don't really explicitly say what kind of life that he lives, but it's implied that he's like a free roaming person. He has no place that he lives specifically. He just kind of is.
He's a nomad.
He just kind of moves around, maybe a couch surfer or something.
Right on.
He's got a lot of friends. But it was interesting that he was like this annoying person. Like he was this real pain with this small group of other tourists who were on the same tour.
Was he just like spouting off shit? Like,
yeah, kind of. Yeah. Just like he would just kind of go off like on tangents or make unnecessary remarks. But at the same time, they themselves, other than his cousin, Jesse Eisenberg, they were sort of perpetuating it.
Oh.
Like they were like, at one point, they were like kind of like justifying his behavior at the same time. At first, it's like really abrasive and annoying. But then like at one point, they're in like a cemetery, like a small cemetery, and he gives a like pretty harsh feedback to the tour guide.
I 100% related to that scene too.
And he was like, hey, can you chill out on like the statistics and the data and all this stuff? Like, we're in a cemetery right now, and like he's like giving all these factoids about it. And he's like, just chill on it right now.
Let's just like absorb the moment.
And
We're
I was
on
like,
sacred ground.
Like I understand that part of it. I understand like what he's saying, and like we are, I guess, like have a moment of silence, I guess, when you're in this specific area. But later in the movie, the tour guide comes back and is like, hey, no one's ever given me feedback before, so I've been thinking about it since you said that to me, and like I really appreciate it. So it's like at first you're like, this guy's kind of an asshole, but I understand what he's coming from. But then the tour guide comes back and says, you know what, that was actually a good feedback.
But there's a more diplomatic way to go about it.
Sure, yeah.
I don't necessarily. You have to watch. Well, did you see the movie?
No, I know. You
have to watch it because
I know what scene you're talking about, but like
you haven't seen the movie.
Well, I've seen the scene. Like,
have you?
Yes,
on TikTok. Don't even.
Okay,
we're gonna play the thing. Oh, here it comes. Dear glorious leader, please shine down your mercy on our friend Tyler and allow him to watch more TikTok so he can have more input on the show instead of watching the movies.
But yeah,
where's this streaming at?
It's on Hulu.
Okay.
But yeah, and Jesse Eisenberg did give a pretty strong performance as well. He's more of like a, well, I guess they both kind of have an emotional parts of the movie. There's a scene right after the concentration camp tour where they're on the bus and you see him sort of, not Kieran Culkin sort of like having a breaking down in a sense. And then Jesse Eisenberg has a moment when he's
at the dinner,
at the dinner, just talking to the rest of them while Kieran Culkin is in the bathroom and he's like talking about him.
He was shaking in it.
Yeah.
I thought for my money, I still think Eisenberg had he had less work to do in the movie, but I think he had the better performance.
But yeah, it was, and it was over. Like it's a short movie, and the ending can be read as like, well, this is kind of a sad ending because there's a departure in a sense, and it's like, well, what's gonna happen now? You know, it's like the end of The Graduate.
Also, on top of that, it's a really cool looking movie because you get to see all these really interesting areas.
Yeah, it's also like a really nicely shot movie.
It's shot in a really good way. I figured you'd appreciate that. But
yeah, really, I enjoyed it a lot, even though it's like kind of like hard to. His character is really grating, but that's the good performance.
Yeah.
And you could say like, well, they're just kind of acting like themselves.
Yeah.
Because if you've seen Kieran Culkin's like the way he presents himself in interviews and stuff, it's like, well, he's kind of like just exaggerating his own personality in this movie. And Jesse Eisenberg is just the same.
Yeah, he's the same.
The same. And then not streaming anywhere, saw it in theaters. I watched Mickey 17.
All right, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and this is not better than Parasite, I don't think, but it's still very entertaining and very good. And I was wondering where it was going because the premise is laid out in like all the marketing. You know, it's like he's a clone he's a person who signs up for this program, and who is basically they just do a bunch of human trials on him.
Yeah.
They like test for diseases. They test for like he's like a crash test dummy.
Okay.
A human crash test dummy that they can
That's
just
a good way to put it.
they can just reprint.
Yeah.
Over and over again. And then there's something happens where every time he dies, they reprint him, and there something happens where he doesn't die, and they reprint him before he gets back. And so he goes back to his room, and he wakes up, and himself is there. Mickey 18 is there, and the themes of the movie are kind of like combined themes from Bong Joon-ho's like previous movies, like classism. And like sci-fi with like Snowpiercer and stuff. It was really entertaining, and Mark Ruffalo does a really good job of playing a dictator.
Oh, that's cool.
You will definitely see some resemblance in some current aspiring dictators in America.
Oh, okay, cool.
But also there's a part in the movie where I was like, this could have been played by Walton Goggins.
Oh, okay.
Because Mark Ruffalo has like these like really like shiny veneers in this movie, and there's a late night show segment where he's like hosting this show, and his hair's like pushed back.
Oh, he looks like Uncle Baby
He's
Billy.
got that like 5'6" head.
This
going
isn't
on.
pushed back. This is slicked back.
Yeah, but it was good. It was I enjoyed it, and it has a lot of really kind of quirky scenes. It's definitely more of a comedy.
Yeah, as I've heard.
Dark comedy.
Is it? Would you consider it rewatchable?
I think so. I don't know.
Comedies are good for rewatching.
It's not doing very well in theaters. For the box office anyway. I think it's going to lose money, unfortunately. And I don't think this would be. It's nowhere near the caliber of like Parasite, but it's still really entertaining and really fun. Yeah, that's all I have.
Cool, awesome. All right, I only have two things I'm going to talk about this week. Number one is a movie that I never heard of before, but I was looking through, reading a list. Someone was talking about Steve Martin being a good serious actor that needed to do more serious acting, and they referenced The Spanish Prisoner from 1997. And it was a movie I'd never heard of before. It's also streamed on Amazon Prime, but also on Peacock, Roku, Vudu, Tubi, Plex, Freevee, all of them. Everywhere you go. And you turn your TV on, it's probably playing right now. And this is starring, I came for the Steve Martin, and it really wasn't a Steve Martin movie, but he's in it, and he's first build. Yeah, I came for Steve Martin. He looked me in the eyes. He grabbed me by the shoulder with his strong arms, and I just couldn't help it. I feel small in his arms. Ben Gazzara, Campbell Scott, Rebecca Pigeon, yeah,
Pigeon,
Ricky Jay, Felicity Huffman, J.J. Johnston, Ed O'Neill, Clark Gregg.
Two first names.
Yeah.
Clark Gregg.
A couple of people you recognize, but a lot of people you wouldn't. And this isn't like amazing, but I thought it was pretty kind of interesting. And it's one of these corporate espionage thrillers.
Okay.
So the whole plot is that the main character, he's a guy that it just works for this firm. It's unclear what they do. And he comes up with a process. They keep calling it a process. It's basically some sort of way to beat the competition in whatever field they are.
Right.
The specifics about it are unimportant, but it's proprietary to him. He invented this thing, and it's basically like a new technology or a new way of running the business that
That sounds familiar.
Guaranteed success, essentially, and guaranteed hundreds of millions of dollars of profit to the company. And they the company flies him out to this island nation, something or other, Caribbeans or something, for their shareholders meeting or whatever, and he unveils this thing to them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a private meeting. It's like the CEO and the head of the legal department or whatever. And he says, we have this, it's been proven, it's tested, we've tested it multiple times, long-term testing, and it is proven to gain our company this much money. And again, they don't say the specifics. It's just, you're implied that it's like hundreds of millions of dollars, like life-changing money for everybody. And everybody involved in it, stands to make a ton of money. So he more or less says, I created it while I work for you guys. It's yours to keep, but I hope I'm going to be compensated for this. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. And he's a company man, and it seems to be a pretty good company. It's not like a shady company or something.
Yeah.
Everything you're led to believe is that they're a good company. And he's just like, okay, cool. Well, let's drop the papers. I have one copy. It's in my safe back home, blah, 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 whatever. And then he's basically, his bosses say, just watch out for people who are going to try to steal this. Because if this is what you say it is, this is going to be life-changing for everybody involved.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes on with his life, and he's like starting to buy nicer clothes and starting to get more money and this and that until it's all unveiled. And during the course of that, he meets these new people in his life. Steve Martin is this rich guy who comes in and is like, hey, let me buy that camera off you for $1,000. I need my camera.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you don't need to buy it. Here, have it. It's free. It's a disposable camera. Who cares? Yeah. And it becomes this weird relationship with Steve Martin. And Steve Martin is basically saying, watch out for that company. If they haven't written anything in writing for you about this thing that you say you invented, you're basically giving them this multi-million-dollar thing for nothing.
Yeah.
And my dad's in business. I've been in business my whole life. If you can't sign a contract saying that they're going to take care of you, then they're going to fuck you.
Yeah.
So he's basically saying, you need to watch out for this.
It's the American way.
Yeah. You need to watch out for this company. You think that they're got your best interests in mind, but they don't. I'm an independent guy, da-da-da-da-da. So you're not sure if the company he's working for is trying to screw him, or this new guy, Steve Martin, has got some angle or whatever.
Probably both.
And then the FBI gets involved, and there's all this other, intellectual property stuff. And ultimately, it's kind of interesting. It's a little bit slow at times, but it's got a pretty good finale. The third act really kind of ties it all together, which you kind of expect. But this is, let me see if I can find the director here. It's directed by David Mamet. Which is, I don't think he's directed a ton of stuff, but he's written a ton of stuff. So
I feel like I've seen his name on a lot of stuff.
He's the writer of Glengarry Glen Ross. And he's like a playwright. So all his stuff, he also did West Wing, I think. very verbose dialogue, a lot of dialogue heavy scripts and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But he's not known. He's not known as a director, but he's known as a writer. Yeah. So in this one, he did direct it, and I'd say it's a recommend. It has some interesting, and it's a kind of a nice time capsule too, because it's 97, so the technology used for all this corporate espionage is kind of goofy, in retrospect.
So the Spanish Prisoner,
and the name comes from that's a grift. It's like the old bait and switch. It's the old Spanish Prisoner, and the concept is, I'm a important businessman, and my sister or my good friend, she's the princess of this. Her
sister was a witch.
Yeah. She's like a princess of some island nation or something like that. And she's been held captive in a Spanish prison, and if you can help me get her out, she's gonna hook you up.
It's like the original Nigerian prince.
Yes,
scam.
very similar for the Nigerian prince. Okay. So, but it was used to be called the Spanish Prisoner.
Spanish Prisoner. Wow.
Yeah, but the idea is you get her out, you get a bunch of money and the girl.
Got it.
Yeah,
and the girl.
That's right.
You get to have your cake and eat it too.
That's right. So, I thought it was pretty enjoyable. It's a mid movie, but it's a nice time capsule movie. And
so this was a serious role for Steve Martin.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And I really.
And
loved
how did he
Steve.
do as a serious role?
It was good. Yeah, believable.
Is he better as a serious role or comedic role?
Oh, okay. No. I mean, he didn't have as much as you would imagine to do for something like this. I would like to see him in something like Adam Sandler and Uncut Gems. Put him in
a little bit more challenging.
Put him in a PTA movie where he can be a real piece of shit and see how he goes.
He hasn't really done a movie in a while. Right?
No,
I think he's retired. I think he's retired. Right?
He's doing the Only Murders in the Building.
I don't know what that is.
It's a Hulu series with what's her name?
Gomez.
Yeah, Selena Gomez
and Martin Short.
He's also touring with Martin Short. It's the Martin and Martin tour.
Yeah,
Steve Martin Short.
Your mortal enemy.
Yeah, I've come around on him. So anyway, that's the Spanish Prisoner from 1997, streaming everywhere. Yeah, I've come around on him. And then, but my number one streaming pick of the week is a 4-part miniseries. I don't even call it a miniseries. It's a British series, and BBC will do that where it's a
maxi series.
4 episodes. Yeah, it's 4 episodes and it's done. They don't do. Sometimes they won't do multiple seasons, and the seasons always are like between 3 and 6 episodes. Like you don't have to have a huge commitment.
Yeah, it's interesting how they do their shows. Like Sherlock seasons are like each episode's like a movie.
Yeah,
and it's only 3 episodes a season.
Yeah, pretty much. So this is called Adolescence.
Okay.
And
I've heard this is very good.
It's really good. So it first came on my radar because Joe Bridges posted on Cinematics about it, and he basically said, "There's no way that this is not winning the Emmy. Like no series
an Emmy
is for like best original series or whatever.
Yeah,
because it's really good. And
what's it about?
So first of all, it's only 4 episodes. Each episode is a oneer. So it's a one cut, no cuts,
one take,
one take,
just okay.
Yeah, one continuous take, like 1917 or Birdman or something like that.
What's up with Stephen Graham and doing one take?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. it was co-written and co-created by Stephen Graham, who plays a kind of a pretty crucial character in it. Not the main character, but in one episode, he's the focus point. Mm-hmm. And Stephen Graham is Tommy the Tit from Snatch, that same actor. He's also in that dark reimagining of the Christmas Carol movie that I watched a while ago on Hulu.
Yeah,
he played Bob Cratchit or something, or one of the, and he was one of the characters.
Plays a Nazi in This Is England.
Oh yeah, okay. And then also he was the main character chef in Boiling Point, that one take movie. Mm-hmm. Now Boiling Point was a true one take movie. Like there was supposedly no cuts, no edits. Like they really did it that way.
Yeah.
And there's a cheats always that you can put into it, and it's like this transition moves into this transition, and you can hide a cut there. That's how this is. There's definitely some cuts hidden some places, but it's not noticeable, and it didn't bother me at all. And I really can't say a lot about it, but it's really, really hard to talk about it because I want people to go into this with nothing nothing revealed to them and just enjoy.
Okay.
Enjoy is a very bad choice of words because it's a very heavy subject matter.
I know the premise of it.
I know nothing about it.
I saw an interview with Stephen Graham talking about, like, it's not a spoiler of like what happens in it. It's more.
No.
It's not like a who done it.
No,
it's more of like a why done it.
Hey, there you go. That's actually pretty good. So what I was going to say is because I thought about what I could say and couldn't say, but I'll say in the first episode, a child of this community is accused of a crime. A 13-year-old boy is accused of murder.
Oh, yes, I've heard of this.
Right. And
the child murder is what spurred your
Tyler's
memory.
like, oh, yes, now I really got to watch it. I love when kids get murdered.
Love when kids get murdered?
So it's that happens within the first, like, I don't know, 10 minutes or something like that, 5 minutes of the show. You get this, accusation and whatever. And I'll give you the breakdown. It's episode 1 is the discovery of the accusation of the crime and how it's processed.
Okay.
Do you remember we reviewed a movie called A Separation? It was an Israeli movie, I think, or Iranian movie.
Yeah, I think it was
about Iranian. Yeah, for about a divorce.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like seeing the interesting side of that country's legal system was really kind of an interesting part of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
This shows the intake of this juvenile into their system, what that means, what the court setting looks like, what the interaction with the parent, and they have to have a legal guardian there for all the proceedings and blah, 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 blah. So that was really interesting in itself. But also the breakneck speed of what is happening is very shocking because, it's told from more or less from the perspective of the main detective and then kind of changes the perspective to the kid and his father who's accompanying him through this whole thing. So what you revealed through that is shocking and heartbreaking and concerning and whatever. Second episode is all about the school and trying to get more information about it. Third episode is just a conversation between the child and, an official.
Kind of makes you question like whether he'd done it or didn't.
Yeah, throughout the entire thing, you're like, well, I'm pretty sure he did it, but maybe not, Yeah. And then you're like, well, why do you say that? Okay, he's definitely guilty.
Okay, so what happens at the end?
It says end and the credits roll.
Oh,
yeah.
Does he get executed?
And then
firing squad.
And then the fourth episode is more revolving around his dad and like him coming to grips with the whole thing. That's as much as I'm going to say about it because it's the reveal throughout the entire movie or series was phenomenal. Every episode looks great. Every episode is acted phenomenally.
How long are the episodes?
First one's an hour. Second one's like 50 minutes. Second one's about 50 minutes. Last one's an hour.
Okay.
It's like almost a 3.5 hour commitment.
All right.
Which most people will binge that in a night on, watching reruns of Seinfeld or whatever.
Did you find yourself wanting, like after the first episode ended, like did you find yourself wanting, I need to watch the second episode?
Yes.
Okay.
And I watched the first one at the late in the night, so I couldn't. I wish I could have. Then we binged 2 and 3 together, and we saved the last one for the last night for like a Friday night first of the night viewing.
Nice.
Prime time. And does not disappoint. Really good. The boy, the main character, Jamie, he's a great actor. And in episode 3, there's almost the entire thing is just a conversation between him and an official. And that is a great performance, a great range of emotion.
That was that kid's first acting gig.
Fucking great. Like, you reminded me of Caleb, the character of Caleb from The Witch. Yeah. Different, totally different, but just the range of emotions. And I'll say,
he didn't make love on a witch.
I don't have kids. I have a niece and a nephew. My nephew's probably 11 now, maybe 10 now or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing him in the child, in the character, because he was 13 when he was accused of this crime.
Yeah.
And seeing, Cooper in that role, it broke my heart to think about. I can only imagine if I had my own children, and what that means as an adult or a parent that brought this child up. If it's true, how do I reconcile with I raised that monster?
I heard 911 calls of this one particular person that was like 19 years old who killed someone, and like the distraughtness that you could hear in the call is heartbreaking.
From the murderer?
Yeah, because the murderer was her son. And so
so the mom of
the mom called
killer
911 on her, and
Got
so like hearing that distraughtness of like her child that she like raised.
I can only imagine being there and seeing it. But in this case, there's a question of whether it's really true, how much of it is just,
God damn it,
quote
I really
unquote
wanna
fake
watch
news.
this.
Yeah. And it's very timely too, because it's not like, you're watching something from the 1950s and it's a child that was born with a
modern
part of his
times.
brain missing, and now he's a serial killer. It's like, did society cause this? Did things within our society that are happening today cause this? And
So it's a little heady.
very much so. So I would say everybody
Fucking liberal.
everybody should watch this. It's on Netflix. If you have children that are below the age of 18, especially young boys, even more important that you do that.
And don't raise serial killers.
It's like Requiem for a Dream for kids.
Kind of. And I really want to comment more about it, but I absolutely will not. So maybe after you guys watch it, we can do a little like bonus bit and talk about it on Patreon.
I think we should, because you sold me on it like that.
Yeah, I would say watch it. I mean, it's kind of a big ask for us three to watch in 1 week, 4-hour thing plus streaming picks plus the next week's movie or whatever. But if you can, it would be great. We could talk about it next week.
Yeah.
Adolescence.
So, so that's it. Adolescence streaming on Netflix. That's all I got.
Cool.
All right, you guys good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna come back just in a few minutes. We're gonna take a smoke break for Tyler. We'll come back and review Falling in Love Like Movies. If you're listening to us on the later released episodes, the podcast on Monday, that'll be out on Wednesday. We'll do Falling in Love Like Movies, and then we'll discuss the changes to the show.
Or you can just watch the live stream if you want.
Yeah.
If you're impatient.
That's what I said. If you're on the live stream, we'll be back in a few minutes, in 20 minutes or so. So, right. Thank you to our cool ass yard duties over on Patreon. That's Javier, Heather, Ryan, or Michael, Steven, and Chris. Michael's in the chat. It's Angry Otter. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. Thanks for the donation, and thanks for always being here to support us. And also thanks to everybody else that's in the chat. We got Bruce in the chat, Big Red Dal in the chat. He suggested we talk about movie characters, traits we've adopted over the years on maybe next week's conversation instead of a news topic. I think that's great.
What character personalities have you adopted in the past?
Yeah, come out of Drive, you're instantly like the silent hero.
I mean, haven't we all felt that before?
Yeah, exactly. So I think we should talk about that. But thank you to all of you guys. If you want to join us on the Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass, or you can just watch on the YouTube. That is your own way to support as well. Until next time. Thank you for joining us today as we gab and chatter. Join us in a little bit as we talk about Falling in Love Like in Movies, Joe Bridges' favorite movie from 2023. And it would delight if I had to tip my hand. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
Follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class.
And follow us on TikTok at Middle Class Film Class, and on Twitter at Podcast MCFC.
There we go. Okay, guys, we'll see you in a little bit or later in the week. See you next time.
See ya.
See ya.
Fellas, we have arrived.
I gotta get out of here.
The bell doesn't dismiss you. I dismiss you.
You're free to go.
See you next week.
See you later.
See you later.
That's a wrap.
Great show.